Hello everyone and welcome to the season finale of the GT7 Champions. Right, I've messed that one up. That is the worst intro of the season so far. Let's do that again. Hello everyone and welcome to the season finale here at Daytona, round number 11 for the Gavra Racing GT7 Championship. We're here one last time in America for the American double header. Last week we were at Watkins Glen, and to see off this 11-round championship, we're here at Daytona for what could be a very exciting race. Apologies for the early stream for those watching it live. Unfortunately, I can't do the stream at the usual time that we usually do the stream, so I'm having to do it relatively early. Anyway, let's get into the grid for today's race. One last time, who sees us on pole position? Well, as you can see, it is the FGR car. Which one? Well, based off the orange rear wing, it is FGR Costa with a 1 minute 43.1, was able to put his Mustang on pole position, and it's an FGR 1-2 here in qualifying, with Finn alongside him in second place. Only a tenth separating the top three as Piero qualifies in third place, and alongside him is the BMW, last week's pole sitter, ex-Natty G, starting in fourth. Making his return on the third row of the grid, Attengren back and ready to get racing in his fight for the team's championship. He starts in fifth place with Tiger Assassin behind him in sixth place with a Daytona special delivery on the Mercedes. We got Ted, his best qualifying of the season, up in seventh place for the Subaru, and he's got Cameron Kaboom starting in eighth alongside him for Team Porsche. Bonneville in ninth place with his championship rifle, Toussaint, championship winner, crowned last week in Watkins Glen. He starts alongside him in his lowest qualifying of the season so far, down in 10th place. We've got Aston in 11th, ahead of Wolfie in 12th for the Subaru, and 13th out of 13th. Last but not least, we have the Scout Dan at the back of the field, looking to make his way through the pack in this race. There you have it. Those are the 13 cars that will start the final round of the season. And what a season it's been. One final drink before we get this race underway. I think my mic should be fine. Right, let's do this. Let's get into this race for one last time. For the final time this season, the 5 red lights are on here at Daytona for 33 laps, and it's lights out and away we go. It's a good start from the FGR boys. The BMW bottling down as it falls through the grid, now down to 6th place. Tiger off to a good start. Look at Toussaint off to a really good start, and now up into 7th place alongside Cameron Kaboom, going in towards turn 1. Side with Tigers, side by side with Finn. Toussaint on the inside of a couple of cars. He's moved his way up a few positions. Finn down to third place with Piero up into second. He's gained a position from the start of the race, but Natty with an awful start, now down into 10th place. The two BCR cars side by side through turn 3, going into the infield part of the circuit. They're still going to go wheel to wheel with a battle for 5th place. So many cars in such a small, narrow part of the circuit, as Costa leads the field away. Piero in second with Finn in third. Tim, one of the main drivers who could win the team's championship. It's Tim and Bonneville versus Toussaint and Tiger, as Ted dips the wheel onto the grass, going into the out of the infield now onto the main oval. We've got a half spinner as Cameron Kaboom. He's dropped down to 9th place as Dan ahead of Aston. They're going to go side by side in the Porsche and the Jag. Now Aston swooping around the outside of Cameron Kaboom as they go through the banked corner. That is turn 7. Tim putting Toussaint under a little bit of pressure as they go into the bus stop, which I believe is now called the Le Mans chicane. Tiger now down the inside of Tim. That was very late on the brakes, very opportunistic, but he's got a 1 second time penalty for cutting the inside of the first half of the chicane, which he will serve in the run down towards the start-finish straight, as Finn all over the back of Piero, who's moving left and right, side to side, like a roller coaster, some might say, as they make their way through the long, swooping left-hander, the final corner that is turn 12 in the run-up towards turn 1. Costa leads lap 1 from pole position. The spin goes side by side with a few drivers as Tiger drops down to 8th place with rear damage as Dan's got rear right suspension damage somehow. Bon Evil down the inside of Wolfie going in towards turn 1 up into 10th place. Tim and Ted going side by side. Up front we've got Toussaint and Finn going real to win a battle for 3rd place. You can see Tim on the inside of Tiger, Cameron Kaboom on the inside of Wolfie. He gets up into 10th place, 11th place I believe. Tiger up now into 7th place after serving the 1 second time penalties. Dropped behind Ted. Piero and Finn going side by side. Toussaint going to now try and slip one down the inside of the McLaren, going through the infield part of the track, and these are crucial positions early on in this race. Toussaint trying to take a wider line to get a good run on Piero as they head in towards the chicane of 11, 8, 9, 10 and 11. But Costa still leads the field away. Finn in hot pursuit of his teammate, just about within the slipstream range. Piero, is he going to go for anything down towards turn 8? Not sure on this lap. I don't think Toussaint's going to send one either. Further down the grid, Bon Evil ahead of Cameron Kaboom. No overtakes on this lap, as I think we might have just had an incident. Indeed we did. Wolfie's off down towards the bus stop or the Le Mans chicane there. He's come out in last place and he's cut the second half of the chicane, which might give him a penalty as well. Tim down to 12th place, might be up into 11th as he goes down the inside of the Scout down, and Wolfie not getting a penalty. Toussaint now side by side with Finn. Are they going to go 3 wide across the line in towards turn 1? Natty on the outside. They're 3 wide going in towards turn 1. The Piero, Finn, Natty side by side as we get to the apex of turn 1. Natty trying to hold it round the outside at turn 1, but Finn trying to get it done on Piero. Indeed he has. Piero now down to 4th place in this race. Now Ted's trying to go round the outside of the BMW, but Natty with the inside line just able to hold 5th place in this race. But great racing going in towards turn 1 as Ted and Tiger now caught up in this battle for 2nd place. That little bit of racing has just given Costa a little bit of breathing space, but we've learned from Tokyo Expressway that no one is safe at a power circuit like Daytona, where you can use bump drafting to close down on cars ahead and pull away, as Pierre and Finn getting a little bit close for comfort out on the circuit. Look at these cars making their way through the banked corner on lap 3 of 33. Finn in 3rd place. I think he's in 3rd in the championship as well. Oh no, he's in 2nd, I think. That ruins it. But Piero in 4th place. He likes finishing in 4th place so far this season. Going in towards the bus stop. Ted's hit the wall on the entry of the corner, it seems. I'm not sure if there was contact between him and Tiger. There's no damage. Goes off for the 2nd chicane as well. He's going to get overtaken by Aston and Bon Evil in the run down towards the 1st corner. Natty's got a 5/10 penalty which he will serve. Won't lose too much time because he does have Tiger in 6th place to get the slipstream back off. He pulls over off the racing line. Through goes the Mercedes down towards turn 1. Will just tuck back into the slipstream. Ted and Bon Evil going side by side in towards turn 1 down the start finish straight. Ted with the inside line. Can he get Aston as well? That would have been late and bold, but settles for trying to get it on Bon Evil. They're still going to go wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner. Here goes Cameron Kaboom, as you can see just up ahead Piero getting the move done on Finn. They're going to go side by side. We've got a car off. That was Piero wide at turn 1 to that turn 3. Drops down to 6th place behind the BMW and the Mercedes, and Finn now claims P3, and you can see that another car has escaped the train as Toussaint has pulled away from this battle for 3rd place. And it is now Tiger promoted up to 4th place. Toussaint started this race in 10th place and is already up into 2nd place, has been for a couple of laps, and is going purple through the 2nd sector. Does have the fastest lap of the race so far, but that could all change with slipstream, bump drafting and low fuel amounts. Cameron Kaboom trying to go for a move on Ted, just going to bump draft him for now, going through turn 7. Long swooping right-hander, a left-hander, sorry. No long swooping right-handers at this circuit. We've got Natty close up behind Tiger Assassin here at lap 4 of 33. Looks like they're just going to work together. Getting a little bit too close for comfort. Let's ride on board with the Mercedes, with the BMW, sorry. That's how close they really are. You can see a little bit of hazard lights flashing on Tiger's Mercedes as they make their way in towards turn 1. The BMW lifts off. Is Tiger going to go for it? Natty's going to try and swoop it round the outside and towards turn 1. Turn kind of working together into an attack. But hello and welcome to everyone who's woken up nice and early tuning in for the stream, as we got to have a move for the lead between Toussaint and Costa. For those who are new to the league, you might be confused where you're calling them Toussaint and Costa from. Well, these are their nicknames. Costa and Toussaint are their PSNs, or their PlayStation names, which is what we're going to be referring to. Unfortunately, as you can see, you cannot change it between nickname and PSN. I've tried. Toussaint all over the back of Costa going through turn 7. Maybe they might try and work together to pull away from the cars behind. Toussaint might try and save some fuel. Piero on the back of Natty, just going to push him for now, but you can see we've got 3 battles, you might say. One for first, one for third, and one for 5th. Up front, what about Bon Evil? Down in 7th place as Aston Cameron Kaboom closely behind him. So we do have battles all over the circuit. Tim down to 10th place on his return to the league. We know what type of a comeback he can make, though. It's not the first time he has been towards the back of the field and made his way through. Toussaint is going to push Costa over the line as they go in towards turn 1. Meanwhile, this battle for 3rd place between Finn, Tiger, Natty and Piero. Natty's going to try and go late on the brakes, swoop on around the outside of Tiger in towards turn 1. He's wide onto the marbles. That could allow Piero to slip by down the inside, but BMW's going to get a good run through turn 2 in towards turn 3. Piero not going to send one on this lap. You can see the battle behind as well. Bon Evil and Aston in 7th place. The Red Bull Ford partnership has arrived early in the GT7 league, with Aston running a Red Bull themed Ford Mustang as he makes his debut a few weeks ago, as Cameron Kaboom gives him a little bit of a nudge, and Aston's gone off the track down at turn 5, sorry. Little love tap from Cameron Kaboom, but it has cost Aston. It's also cost him a position a corner later as Tim goes down the inside. Beautiful camera shot of the infield lake, with Costa making his way down the back straight in towards the Le Mans chicane, with Toussaint in hot pursuit with the chasing pack of Finn, Tiger, Natty, Piero, and I think Bon Evil and Tim will be closely on the back of this battle. Look at the tyre wear difference though. You can see Natty's fronts a lot more worn. The BMW liking to chew through its tyres, plus it's also the driving style of myself that doesn't help the tyres. Lap 7 of 33. It's looking good so far for Team BCR in the Teams Championship. They're 5 points ahead of Tim and Bonnie, but it is not over yet. A lot can change. They're running 2nd and 4th in comparison to 7th and 8th, but we've still got lots of racing laps left. Anything can change, as we've seen in the league, in previous leagues and previous seasons, how much things can change in just the click of a finger, in just one corner, one lap. As Costa is still maintaining a decent lead. Costa and Toussaint pulling a good advantage over the cars behind. They just cannot close down the gap to the front two. Costa with actually a decent lead over Toussaint. I think Toussaint's still in the slipstream, but he's not close enough to get the full effect of the full power of the slipstream. The power of the slipstream. Some people might not get that reference. which will make me sound a little bit weird. Also, I should have said this during the rundown of the grid before we got into the start of the race. If my voice does sound a little bit croaky, it is just because I have just woken up, looked at the time and realised I need to do this stream before I leave, which is why it's being streamed at this time of day for those watching it live. I'm unable to do it later on in the day where it's usually streamed. Here we go, we might have a change of position for the podium position. Tiger Assassin trying to go round the outside of Finn in towards turn 1. It's dead heat. It's a photo finish across the line to start lap 8. Finn with the inside line, Tiger late on the brakes trying to swoop it round the outside. A little bit of contact going in towards turn 1. Finn leaving Tiger no room on the outside. Here goes Natty now trying to capitalise on the battling for 4th place, as he's going to slip his BMW round the outside, but Tiger just has it covered, defends beautifully on the racing line. Natty unable to get past him. Look at the tyre difference between Natty and Piero. That BMW chewing through the medium compound tyres as if it's a nice juicy kebab on a Friday evening. And at a track like at Daytona, in a car like the BMW with a lot of low speed corners, turn 3, turn 5 and turn 6, corners that are crucial to keep yourself in the race. With a car that has a snappy rear end, the Mercedes, kind of like the Mercedes and the McLaren, you can afford to put the foot down on corner exit, but in the BMW that chews through rear tyres and a car that you have to be gentle on the throttle, you can't really do that. Tiger now trying to go for it, move around the outside, in towards the Le Mans chicane. Finn breaks early, but there's contact between the two. Tiger's introduced to L front left as Finn gives Tiger a little bit of a tap on the apex of turn 7, drops him a few positions, now down to 6th place. Piero and Natty up into 4th and 5th place, but look who's back in this. Tim ahead of Bon Evil now into 7th place, but you can see Tiger Assassin in the same camera shot. 3 drivers battling for the team's championship, now fighting for the same part of the circuit. Tim now going to go to the right hand side of the circuit, the left hand side of the screen, around the outside, across the start finish line. Bon Evil might try and make it 3 wide, down in towards turn 1. Tiger on the inside of Tim, 2 Mercedes and a Genesis fighting for position, and Tiger I think has just got 3rd place covered in this race. Piero trying to get ahead of Natty for 4th place, and look at the battle that we have on our hands for 3rd place in this race. Finn, Natty, Piero, Tiger, Tim, Bon Evil and Cameron Kaboom. We've got 7 cars on the same bit of tarmac, and we're 9 laps into this race. This is incredible racing. Meanwhile, the front 2 have just pulled away from the cars behind. The 2 favourites now, you might say, to win this race, but it could all change with strategy, traffic, mistakes. Anything can happen in this race. See the silver 3rd on the top of the BMW. It remains ahead of Piero's McLaren for now. But look at the cars that make their way through the bustle. That's such an awesome camera shot. Finn under pressure from the BMW as they make their way to down turn 12 or around turn 12. What about the battle for the lead of the race? Looks like Tuesday hasn't been able to save much fuel in comparison to the race leader. But look at this battle for 3rd place. Natty kind of trapped behind Finn for now. Piero trying to go round the outside. Natty to the inside of Finn, down in towards turn 1. Piero around the outside of the BMW. Can he make this one stick with better grip on the medium tyres for now? Beautiful move from Piero, swooping around the outside. Look at the tyre difference between those 2 cars. It's absolutely incredible how much tyre wear that I had in the race. Natty wide and just doesn't have the grip to get the car turned. He's going to lose the position to Piero. He's lost the position to Tiger, and he's going to lose another position to Tim. He was temporarily 3rd going in towards turn 1. Now down into 7th place behind the Mercedes, but he's going to try and dive one to the inside of Tim. Can't quite. The door was quickly shut in the face, but wasn't near enough alongside to warrant space on the inside. But the tyre difference is incredible between the BMW and the cars around him. Maybe an alternate strategy is needed, an undercut perhaps, just to get ahead of this pack. And I sound like I'm losing my voice, but I'm honestly not. Never choose the BMW again, says Piero in the chat. Well, I'll turn off tyre wear next season. It'll be a different story. How about that? Oh, Piero wide through the chicane, goes over the curb onto the grass. That might be a penalty. We'll have to wait and see. I believe it is a 5/10 penalty coming his way. Side by side with Tiger Assassin. It's interesting side-to-side physics. That is the lag coming from Piero's car. Tim now down the inside of Tiger. Natty makes it through wide, but also has a 5/10 penalty. Piero and Natty slowed down, but luckily for them, they still are within the chasing pack as they drop behind Tiger and Bon Evil side by side in the race. This is crucial points for the team championship. Bon Evil down the inside and gets the position up into 5th place. I've bit my tongue, trying not to scream. And Piero up into 7th place ahead of Cameron Kaboom, who gets ahead of the BMW. Now we're starting lap 11 of 33. Look at all these cars making their way through the hairpin. Turn 3 is beautiful. I can't wait to see these cars when we get to the night phase in this race. This race should be about, I think, I want to say 3 to 5. About 60% day, 40% in the night. The front two continue to pull away from these cars behind who are going at it in the battle for 3rd place. This would be a great, I'm getting Formula E vibes from this race, especially Formula E this season. You've got Pascal Wehrlein and Jake Dennis who pull away in their Porsche powertrain cars, and then you've got everyone else battling behind for position, whether it be the Jags, the Mahindras, whatever. We've got a Mustang, we've got a Mercedes, a Genesis, a BMW. Someone's forgot where the bus stop went. That's Tiger Assassin going for the outer for the oval layout. Gets reset to track. I'm not sure if there was contact. I think we should go back. Actually, we have that feature to do it. So let's ride up. But whoa, that's interesting. I mean, not really sure what happened there. I think Tiger just went late on the brakes. Maybe he wasn't expecting, or maybe he was, normal. Maybe he was hitting his normal braking point, but everyone else was so early on the brakes because there is 7 cars trying to go through a chicane. Maybe, I'm not sure. But that has dropped him, I think, closer to Aston than the back of Natty. But look at the tyres. Piero in 6th place, and look at Natty's front left on 11 laps on the mediums. He's pulled into the pits. Not a bad decision, having had the 1 second time penalty. It's a strat that I came into this race knowing if you have a penalty around your scheduled pit stop lap because then you won't lose too much time trying to build up that speed going in towards turn 1. This water is starting to taste a little bit disgusting. I only just refilled this bottle this morning, but it feels like it's been in here for days. Ugh. Jeez. Not nice. Toussaint takes the lead of the race from Costa here on lap 12 of 13. He's had enough of sitting behind the Mustang, the Mercedes, putting their foot down, going ahead. Oh, I need something. I need to have like a mint. Apologies, but that water's starting to taste a little bit disgusting. I only just refilled it this morning. What are we going? Natty on the soft compound tyres, putting in 61 litres of fuel, which should take him, I think, about maybe 12 laps in this race on the soft compound tyres. But if you're going to take the mediums, 11 laps, or you won't take the softs, 12 laps either. We were saying earlier how Toussaint and Tiger were 2nd and 4th. Tim and Bonnie were in 5th and 7th and 8th. Well, now they're in 4th and 5th, and it's 1st and 8th for the championship. How much things have changed? Are we going to see anyone react into the pits? Cameron Kaboom is into the pits, but everyone else is staying out. The gap's just starting to spread out a little bit as the cars decide to pull into the pits, and tyre wear impacts some drivers more than others. Oh, we got a car off! Down at turn 1 is Bon Evil. lighting up the rears on the exit of 1, and he's off into the barrier with front left suspension damage and bumper damage, and he's come out side by side with Tiger Assassin in towards turn 3, wheel to wheel for the championship. Crucial points in this race, and that is, well, I think Bonneville might be into the pits at the end of this lap because those tyres are looking quite worn on the Genesis. But this is kind of recovered Tiger's race perhaps in terms of his incident at the bus stop, because if he can finish ahead of Bonneville, as long as Toussaint finishes ahead of Tim, then it's game over in the championship. 5 points between Tiger and Toussaint, and Tim and Bonneville. For those who didn't watch Watkins Glen, spoiler alert, in 3, 2, 1, Toussaint was able to win the Drivers' Championship in that race. He was able to wrap it up early with a second place finish. He currently leads this race, but for how much longer? Because here goes Costa looking for a move round the outside, but tucks back into the slipstream behind the Mercedes. Pulls over to the left hand side of the circuit. Is he going to go for it in towards turn 1? Just can't quite get the speed. What about Finn and Tim? 2 flying Finns, 1 from Finn, 1 called Finn, both into the pits at the end of lap 13. Pierre also into the pits. I think Bonnie and Tiger Assassin might follow them in. Yes, they do. It's a late call, but they both come into the pits. I think Bonnie was trying to lead that as late as possible. Aston also into the pits, so the leaders stay out. 1 and 2 for Toussaint and Costa. It's going to be interesting actually to see where Natty filters out in all of this, having made his pit stop 2 laps earlier. It's a 44.666, and that's going to be a great, that's great luck for the rest of his race. Finn and Tim coming out of the pits. Natty ahead of Piero, Bonneville and Tiger. Look how close these guys have come out of the pits. Ted in between the two, hasn't made his pits. No, he has made a pit stop. Pitted on lap 7 for the set of the soft compound tyres, and he's in between Bonneville and Piero. And I think Piero might want to try and clear that Subaru as quickly as possible to use the soft tyres to his advantage, but also not get stuck behind Ted when his soft tyres go off. And I know that sounds like a harsh reality when you say, oh, a driver needs to get past someone so he doesn't get stuck behind him. But as a racing driver, it's something that you say to yourself in your head, I need to get past this guy so I can race the guys who I think I'm racing. Costa goes for it on the inside, but inside of the pit lane goes the Mustang, and the pit crew rushing out with a fresh set of tyres for the Swiss driver. Your championship leader, your race leader, continues on for another lap. Lap 15 of 33. So he may be trying something we don't know. Maybe we might see a set of the hard compound tyres on that Mercedes, and he might be trying a one-stop. We'll have to wait and see. Finn and Tim battling for third place. The commentator's nightmare back in Mount Panorama. For those newer viewers, or for those who didn't watch, I want to say season 4 or season 2 Mount Panorama on one grid. We're going to get some throwbacks in a sec. Contact as Tim throws it down the inside of Costa into the side pod, but gets the move done up into second place. And will there be a steward's inquiry about that particular move? We'll have to wait and see. But there was a little bit of quite a bit of contact in getting that move up into second place. Bear with me for just 2 seconds on the commentator. Oh, we've got someone off at turn 1 as well. It's the Scout Dan off at turn 1, and he is left from the race. He is will no longer be taking any part. He only lasted 15 laps in this race, which makes it 4 DNFs from 4 starts this season for the Scout Dan. Trial Mountain, Interlagos, Watkins Glen, and now Daytona. As Toussaint with a 5/10 penalty will slow down for 5/10, but will, I think, be into the pits at the end of the lap, reacting to Costa, who pitted the lap before. Tim now drops down to third place. I still haven't got on to what I wanted to say earlier, but we'll get on to that in a minute. Toussaint into the pits, but yeah, Finn and Tim battling for third place was nowhere near as bad as when we had Woody, Wolfie, Ted, Tim, Finn on the same grid. Toussaint and Tiger, I know their names are very different, but they both start with a T and are similar in length. So it was very easy to get those two mixed up. Woody, Wolfie, Ted, Tim, Finn. That was quite the tongue twister. Looks like Toussaint's putting in fuel, whereas Costa has not. Costa's put in just over half the tank. Tim with less than half a tank. Tim, Finn with the same. Camera kaboom. Natty going through turn 1. Toussaint still in the pit. Now this is a strategy that I think a lot of drivers question now in the race. We're starting to see it less often. The strategy in previous races at the start of the season used to be pit, put the fuel in, go out, then pit. When you make your second pit stop, you don't need to put any fuel in. Now we're seeing more drivers like the top 5 not put any fuel in the first stint, and maybe that might be the way to go, because Toussaint's, well, look who's behind him, Bon Evil and Piero, who haven't put in any fuel, and Toussaint's now going to be pulling them along in the slipstream. He could get caught up in traffic. Imagine if this was a track that's harder to overtake, a track like I don't know, Spain, Alsace, Autopolis, Kyoto. What if it was one of those tracks where it's harder to overtake? You run that risk of getting stuck in traffic of those drivers who didn't put in fuel in the start. But if you're towards the back of the field, let's say you're Natty in this case, who's at the back of the midfield train, is it worth putting in all the fuel in your first stop so then you have clean air at the back? I mean, maybe the strat is, if you're at the front, you don't put in any fuel so you get clean air when you leave the pit lane. That could be a strategy that drivers consider for next season. Although the fuel and tyre wear may not be the same for next season. We'll have to wait and see what happens then. A three-way fight for the lead between Tim, Costa and Finn. 2 FGR drivers trying to put the pressure on Tim's championship hopes. But this is exactly what I was talking about. Look at Toussaint was leading this race, but does have Bon Evil and Piero in the slipstream right behind them. Pierre in the chat saying the best strat yesterday was to be in the slipstream. Bon Evil now down the inside of Toussaint, up into 6th place. Not exactly what Toussaint would have been wanting, but yes, you do need to be in the slipstream to have any chance of doing well, because I from personal experience in my race, pitting early, not putting in any fuel really did cost me, because I was in the middle in this phase. Tim, Finn and Costa would pull away from me by about 5, 6, 7 tenths between turn 6 and 12, which is this corner here, this left-hander where Tiger is, and the final corner, turn 12, which they're now going wheel to wheel through, because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't bump draft anyone, I couldn't get the toe. I was a sitting duck. Bon Evil with a second penalty, Cameron Kaboom with 5 tenths. We'll get back to that in a second, because Tim might be looking for a move on Costa in towards turn 1. Round the outside, left the door open for Finn. Let's just have a quick look as Tiger gets past Cameron. Toussaint gets ahead of Cameron Kaboom. Costa's off. Costa, I don't know where he's going or what he's doing, but he has gone off. I actually want to see how that's happened. So through turn 1, I think he's just got a bit lost. A very bizarre accident. But rejoins the track safely. Apologies. Yeah, really weird one, but it's now a 2-horse fight for the lead. I would go back and watch that, but I'll do that after the stream in my own time. For those who have me as a friend on PlayStation, you can watch all the races back on, well, with commentary on YouTube, but if you want, you know, driver's perspective, anything, they are all shared by me. So you should be able to access every race if you want to watch a battle again or an incident. Lap 18 of 33. I've realised I've just kind of, I don't know, I've just kind of found myself falling back in my chair, but we're going to stand up now for the rest of the commentary. So that's someone, oh, it's Cameron Kaboom and Bonnie Evil going side by side. I couldn't see Bonnie Evil's car. I was going to say Cameron Kaboom defending thin air, but has dropped down to 7th place after losing the position to Bonnie Evil, as just about keeps it within the track limits on the exit of turn 11. Meanwhile, up front for the lead, Finn and Tim battling for the lead of the race. Tim on his GT7 return after a couple of weeks absent, is leading this race. Tuesday in 5th place ahead of Bon Evo. Pierre and Cameron Kaboom now going side by side, 2 teammates this season. Pierre gets ahead going in towards turn 1, up into 7th place. Aston in 9th ahead of Tiger in 10th. Wolf in 11th with Ted rounding out the top 12. As Tim is actually purple through the first sector, as it is the driver behind him, Finn, with the fastest lap of the race. We've got Natty in 4th place on a very worn set of the soft compound tyres after pitting at the end of lap 11, halfway through lap 13. I have to say, we do have some really nice liveries on the cars this season. Let me know your guys' favourites in the chat. I know we've got a few specials, but let's go through a few of the liveries actually that we've got on this race. So we've got Finn's livery. Sorry, let's start with Tim's livery. The blue and black Coca-Cola themed livery with PlayStation controller buttons integrated into the design. Very nice. I believe this is another American themed livery with the American flag on the back. We've got Finn in the classic yellow, black and silver white feel-good racing car. Got Natty's black and white BMW. I guess a concept to the default livery. We've got Two Saints purple and blue Daytona special, as opposed to their kind of lime green, bright green and white design. We've got Bon Evil's Haas themed Genesis. We've got Piero's pink and purple McLaren. I believe it's I think it's called the Feel Good. I think that's what the main sponsor is. We've got the white and black, or the grey and black Porsche for Cameron Kaboom. The Red Bull Mustang on Aston's Ford. Wolfie's green, classic green and red race-winning Subaru from the Monza mini season, and Ted's purple and blue Subaru altercation on Wolfie's colours. Very nice liveries this season. We've also had many specials in Tokyo and Interlagos and throughout the season. But you can see now the sun is beginning to set over the grandstand on the main straight as we start to enter the night's phase of this race. Tuesday in 5th place. Natty with a fire tech penalty and a puncture to the front left, setting a new Gavra racing record for the most punctures in one race last time out in Watkins Glen. I believe it stands at 7 punctures in one race. As he pulls into the pits, I'm sure Toussaint will be a little bit frustrated as that, as he doesn't get a slipstream behind the BMW. But there's not long left in this race, not long left to finish Season 1 of GT7, Season 6 of Gran Turismo. racing at Gavra Racing, and wow, what a journey it's been. For those who are up early, nice and early, and watching the stream, who have been here since round 1, let me know your favourite race in the comments, in the chat as well. If you're watching it on YouTube, put your favourite race down in the comments section below. We started off at the Nürburgring, went to Catalonia, a quick trip to Italy before a flight over to America, a soggy Spa, and the mountains of deep forest, off to Croatia, and then a trip to Tokyo, an extended winter break before Interlagos, and then up north to America for a double header of Watkins Glen and Daytona. Highlights of this season, and what a thriller it's been. 12 laps to go, 22 of 33. The sun begins to set in the background as the sky on fire. A beautiful scenery to end off this season, and what a beautiful track as well to do it. We've got Piero with Spa and Watkins Glen, Spa being the only wet race this season. For those who didn't watch it, go check it out. It started off in the wet and we finished in the dry. So for the first dynamic weather, well, full effective dynamic weather that we've seen in the league, or the main leagues, without it being heavily scripted by myself. Oh, we've got a car off. It's Finn's off at turn 5 in the run down towards turn 6. He must have lost it, going a little bit wide onto the grass, and he's going to lose not 1 position to Costa, but 2 positions to Toussaint and Bonivel. Well, Toussaint might be happy that he's gained a position, but Bonivel's also gained a position in their team's championship fight. They're low on fuel as well, so they might be into the pits in the next couple of laps for the set of soft compound tyres. We've got Natty gaining on the back of Wolfie at the end of lap 22 of 33. The corner where Finn had his incident. Wolfie and Natty make it through. Ted also making it through the infield. But the train has started to reform once again, and this time Toussaint's at the head of it on the set of the soft compound tyres. But look how beautiful this game looks at night with the dark blue sky, the sun setting behind the grandstand. It's at turn 1, and we are fully now in the night time period of the race. Everyone drivers making their way through turn 1. A little bit of a slide from Bonivel on the exit of the corner. But Tim still leads this race. A 1:45 in his last lap. It's a 44 from Costa, gaining on the race leader. Tim, despite leading, one of the slower drivers out on the circuit, just quicker than drivers in the midfield pack. Aston wide, Tiger through on the inside. Natty gaining on Wolfie as well in his pursuits for points on a fresh set of the medium compound tyres. I have to say, this is only the second time we're seeing these cars at night. The first and only night race was at Tokyo Expressway this season, but now we're seeing them under a floodlit circuit in the night time, and they do look stunning, has to be said, all 12 of them. As Wolfie's onto the grass, and he dipped him well onto the grass, he's lost the rear, he's able to keep it in a straight line, but that allows Natty to go through up into 10th place. Wolfie with a mistake drops down to 11th. Meanwhile, Tim with a puncture to the front left will probably be into the pits at the end of this lap. Indeed he is. Costa stays out for another lap. I think Toussaint still has grip left on the soft compound tyres. Bonivel, he will be into the pits at the end of this lap. So will Finn. Piero follows him in. I think Cameron Kaboom stays out on the medium compound tyres with 11 laps to go. Tiger also on the softs. I think he's going to pit. He pitted around the same time as Piero and Bon Evil might do one more lap actually. Let's just wait and see. No, he does pit and Aston does follow him in. So Costa leads this race. To St. Purple through the first sector. I asked you guys what your favourite race was. It's only fair to comment on my own. Well, I mean, every race has been unique in their own way. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think there's been one standout race that has been way better than every other race. We've had a lot of amazing races, lots of action. We've had quite a roller coaster of races. To be honest, a lot of them though, top quality racing. As a commentator, I would have to go probably Tokyo Expressway or I don't know, because I want to say all of them. I want to say Spain, I want to say Deep Forest, I want to say Trial Mountain, I want to say Watkins Glen, I want to say Tokyo. I think Tokyo would be number one, and a close second, probably Watkins Glen. As a driver, probably, and I'm going to include race, I don't know, it's probably unfair to say for me as a driver because I joined racing halfway through the season. I think I started at round 6 at Deep Forest, so I didn't race the first half of the season, so I don't, cause obviously I might have had a good race. Yeah, most of the races were good, Piero. I think it's fair to say Lago Maggiore was the biggest disappointment of the year. I hate to say it. It's been a track that's provided a lot of action through the years, but hey, that things happen like that. Just because it's a good track for quote-unquote racing in the past, it doesn't mean we're going to get good racing in the future. So I think Lago Maggiore unfortunately sits bottom of the list. But I don't know, every race this season was good for its different reasons. Nürburgring is a throwback to GT Sport Season 1. It's where we started the GT League. I thought it'd be a nice way to start this season. We had good racing, really nice racing. Nice smooth introduction to the league. Spain providing a brilliant battle for the lead between Piero and Toussaint. What was next? Lago, Dutchy won by about 30-40 seconds. Trial Mountain, banging race for the lead. So many drivers battling up front. Tim's first win. Spa, dynamic weather. Deep Forest, lots of overtakes throughout the grid. We didn't have pack racing in that one. It was more like this. Tim and Costa, the equivalent. We had Dutch and Toussaint, we had Natty and Tiger, myself and Tiger, and I could refer to myself in the first person in that situation. We had Dragon Trail Seaside for the Carnage. We had no idea who was going to win that race because of the death chicane. Tokyo Expressway, pack racing, trying to make the one-stop work. Interlagos, close racing in the midfield especially. Watkins Glen, battles for the lead and the midfield and a champion. Really racing throughout actually. We had Finns come back through the field. And now we're at Daytona where we had amazing pack racing at the start, 7 drivers fighting for third place, and now we've still got close racing. We've got Tim and Costa separated by a couple of tenths. Toussaint now in hot pursuit on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we've got this battle of Natty trying to keep up with Bon Evil and Finn, who are battling for 5th place, and a team's championship to decide. Every race was great for their own reasons. I hate asking drivers what their favourite race was, because I mean, let's take Lago Maggiore. let's take Dragon Trail Seaside for example. Spoiler alert about that race. If I asked Dan Schneider what his favourite race was, he might say Dragon Trail Seaside because he won. But it might not be. It might have been Tim's worst race of the season because he was leading before he crashed 2 or 3 times with 5 or 6 laps to go. So it's really driver dependent when you ask them what their favourite race was, which is why from a neutral's perspective it's often best to ask them what their favourite race was because they weren't involved. Oh, we've had a big mistake from the champion. Toussaint has hit the tyres on the pit entry. It's a mistake that we saw in the Daytona event back in April, the first Gavra racing event, and it's happened again. A rookie error for the champion. Well, his full title now, an F1 Premier Series title, a GT Sport champion, and now a GT7 champion, and it's crashed down at turn 1, now behind Piero, down into 4th place, and has that cost him the team's championship, with Tim leading and Bon Evil in 6th place ahead of Tiger, who's in 9th place. Tim and Bon Evil need to outscore the BCR team by 6 points to take the crown in this race, and with 6 laps left to go, 6 points, 6 laps, can they do it? Costa, can you try and take it away from them? The FGR drivers really have a massive influence in deciding this championship as things stand, with Finn ahead of Bon Evil and Costa trying to get ahead of Tim. Costa never won a race in Gavra racing. Well, this is his first season, so we will forgive him. He's had 10 races. Well, I mean, no, he hasn't actually, because he's been out injured for a couple of races. But here we go. He's back and he's ready to fight for the lead of the race. Before he left us, he'd never beaten his teammate Finn, but on his return he's taken pole position, and now he's taken the lead of the race ahead of Tim, demoting Tim and reducing the number of points he will be getting at the end of the race, unless Tim can find a way back past the Mustang, which is really quick in a straight line. But Piero and Toussaint now side by side going in towards turn 1. The Mercedes now ahead of the McLaren, and now Toussaint's gained points on Tim and Finn. For 2nd place you get 25 points, but it's 26 for Tim because he's got the fastest lap of the race. So 26 and 21 for Toussaint, which is a difference of 5. So those two effectively cancel each other out in the championship fight. There's 5 points between them. So if it was just Tim and Toussaint, then they will be level on points. Unfortunately, that's not the case because we've got a Bon Evil ahead. I say no, not unfortunately. I didn't mean it like that. I mean, unfortunately. Never mind. How do I word this without sounding biased? Because that really did sound bad. Tim and Toussaint, if it was just them in the team, they'd be level on points. Unfortunately for Toussaint, it's not the case because Bon Evil's ahead of Tiger Assassin. There you go. That's that. Well, we don't. I'm not biased in any way. Let's get that out the window. Otherwise, I would have just given Toussaint bonus points if I wanted him to win. Change the point system every race depending on the result. It's not the first time I've had a commentary slip up. Actually, yeah, I want, if someone can do this, if you've got a spare, I don't know, 2 hours because you're bored or something. Let's say, I don't know, you're ill or you're bored. If someone wants to get, I give you viewers my permission to do this, to go back to previous streams, either this season or in the past, get a load of my commentary bloopers and compile them into a compilation. I don't think there's many, but I think there's quite a few where I've gone like Finn, Tim, Costa, whoever, or I've said something wrong, or I've made a slip up. So I reckon there's been a few. I know one that's stuck in my mind, and it was from Dragon Trail Seaside. I won't repeat it because it could have sounded very bad if I didn't correct it and made it very clear what my intentions were. But we won't need to go back. If you want to go back, you have to watch all the Dragon Trail Seaside. So that's how you get views, ladies and gentlemen. You don't tell people what you've done wrong. You make them find it themselves. And because it's commentary and not racing action, they can't skip to lap 15 or whatever. They have to listen
We have to watch. Anyway, we've got Natty ahead of Cameron Kaboom, Finn ahead of Bon Evil, Toussaint ahead of Piero, and Costa ahead of Tim. 4 battles, 4 positions. Tim with a 1 second time penalty. And that is going to could be crucial if he wants to win this race. Bon Evil also on the back of Finn. Four laps to go of season 1 of GT7, and Costa could be set, or is set, to win this race, and his first race win of the season. Would be a great story for him if he can win on his return. Toussaint still staying ahead, able to stay ahead of Piero. Cameron Kaboom's got his way past Natty in the BMW, up into 7th place for the Porsche. Who is the closest battle on the circuit? I believe it is these guys for 3rd and 5th place. Piero making an excellent point in the chat. The record of different winners in a season. It's going to be hard to beat after this one. If Costa can win this race, if he does win this race, he will be the 7th different race winner in 11 races. And fun fact for all the viewers, we've not had we've had a different race winner every race since Spa, and that was round 5. This is round 11, and a different driver has won every race since. We've had Toussaint, Tim, Piero, Finn, Bon Evil, Dan Schneider. Can we get Costa on that list? Tim in hot pursuit of the race leader. Meanwhile, a battle for the podium between Toussaint and Piero. Finn and Bon Evil in the background as well. Fights all over the grid. What a season it was. What a season it's been. But we're in the closing phases. The sun has fully set to end off season 1 of this season. What's crazy is that we've got 4 different teams running in the top 4, 5 different nations in the top 5, and we've had lots of diversity in terms of not only where drivers are from, but in terms of the car class. Sorry, not car class. The kind of diversity in car class, unless it's multi-class, but it's not multi-class, but it's Group 3 specific. In terms of car selection, we've had Mustangs, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, McLaren, Subarus, Ford. I said Ford already. The other Ford. Many different cars, and a record-breaking 22 drivers in one season. Yes, I could go back on myself and say we had, I think, what, 20... We had like 24 or something in season 3. We've had 2 leagues. But in one league, we've had 22 drivers enter. Actually, let's try and get some quick statistics up for the end of the race. I'll try and do this as quickly as possible. We've had amazing, so many records broken this season for turns in terms of Gavra racing. We've had the number of different the number of different drives on the podium, number of different race winners, number of pole sitters, number of punctures across the line, number of punctures in a race, number of poles without a podium. It's been a curse this season starting on pole position. However, since we've been back after the break, a lot of these records have been broken. Before the break, before the Christmas break, a German driver or manufacturer had won every race, but since then we've not had any German driver or manufacturer win at all. There are so many records breaking this season, and well, we've got one more lap to go. It'd take me too long to go through all the records. Who have we got battling the track? We've got Tiger now ahead of Natty in 8th place, and he needs to get a Cameron Kaboom if it's to be enough. The team's championship possibly going down to the wire. Could it be influenced by Piero or Finn or Cameron Kaboom? As it stands, Tim and Bon Evil will be your Season 1 team champions. We've got one final racing lap of Season 1. What a great season it's been. And a privilege to have commentated, raced and done everything. We'll get onto that at the end. I mean, you throw your whats and ifs in the chat. What if Tiger never disconnected in Lago Maggiore? What if Dutchy never replaced Bon Evil in Deep Forest Raceway? What if the servers never went down after the first Interlagos attempt? Well, what if? And that is the big question, what if? But screw the what ifs, because this is reality, and this is how it's turned out, and this is what has happened. We can't change the what ifs, or the what if I'd have done this, or the what if this has happened. What if I never made this mistake, or what if I'd have made the correct strategy call? Well, the strategy's been bang on, perfect for Costa in this race. Started on pole, he's only going to be the 3rd driver this season to do it, but he rounds the long swooping left-hander. It feels like it takes forever, and trust me, it does. But in the Mustang, when it's quick in a straight line, it's going to get there a little bit quicker than some of the others. But Costa up to the line, sees the checkered flag first, and wins here at Daytona for his first race win of the season. Tim spins across the line in 2nd place, kind of kick style on the grass. Your champion finishing 3rd place, just ahead of Piero. But with Tim in 2nd, Finn in 5th, Bonnie in 6th, and Tiger only down in 8th place means Bon Evil and Tim win the team's championship for Season 1. Bon Evil with an identical style spin across the line to his teammate, winning the championship by 5 points in the end. That's how you do it. Bonnie and Tim, a perfect 360 and smoke across the line. Natty finishing in 9th place, Aston finishing in 10th, sees the checkered flag in the 10th drive to do so, and another crash identical to Tim's. Actually, that was pretty much exactly the same. Wolfie in 11th place, had one mistake in the infield, finishes in 11th with another sideway finish, this one more aggressive onto the grass. That was actually a pretty nice spin, actually. Fair play. And Ted, last but not least, I believe, no, 4 points, I think, Piero, so I think they won it by 4 points. I think it's 377 to 381, if my memory is correct, but I'm not too sure. If you want to correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. And there we have it. Ted chooses to give himself quite a lot of whiplash as he finishes this race in 12th place. But there you have it. Costa wins the final race of the season, his first of the season. Brilliant performance from him. Tim on his return in 2nd, and well, your driver's champion in 3rd place. We'll let it fade out. Actually, no, we're going to let it fade out on me, because I'm the commentator, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch the BMW slowly make its way through the infield. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I nearly timed that perfectly. Anyway, let's get into the podium celebrations. There we go. That is a true fact, Piero. Toussaint and Tiger would have won it had Toussaint not let you win in Watkins Glen. But here we go for round 2 of Daytona. It's 5 lights, and there's lights out, and away we go. I forgot to mention the winner of this race gets 500 points. And as you can tell, it's not the actual race based on the carnage from the start of this race. Post-race celebrations have got underway. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to finish that because let's just skip ahead because there is a little bit of carnage for a while. Here we go, the podium. Let's get on board. Let's find the Drivers' Champion first. I think that's fitting. Oh, of course we're going to get a bad camera angle. Okay, let's start with the the Constructors' Championships. Tim and Bon Evil. Where's Bon Evil? I can't find him. There he is. Not doing donuts. Okay, let's try and find Zab. There we go. We've got 2 saying. That's a beautiful camera shot of all the drivers doing donuts on the back straight to round off this season. Thank you so much to viewers, drivers, and everyone who's been involved with the first season of GT7. It's been a privilege to have to host each week, organise the races, race with you guys, and commentate on them afterwards. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing 11 races. Should only have taken 12 weeks. We started this season towards the end of September, and it's now mid-February 2023. On to season 2, but I'm going to let you in on a few secrets, perhaps, for a few mini-seasons and events. Actually, no, I'm not. We're going to do some mini-seasons. We're going to do some events in between now and season 2. A nice cool-down period in between the 2 events. And there you have it. I want more donuts, so let's just go back for a little bit. There you have it. A beautiful end to this season. Let's find someone else. Let's find me. We'll filter through the drivers eventually. This is an interesting camera shot for those who want to look at me. I didn't actually mean me. Looks like there's a bit of a moment happening between Tiger and BMW. Thank you, Piero, in the chat. But yeah, what a season. What a season. Personal highlights, I don't know. The whole season's been an amazing highlight. That's it. That's it, really. Looks like we've got a little bit of a race on our hands. Oh, here we go. The race isn't over just yet. The true finish of season 1. It's Tiger versus Aston. Tiger with a 4-second time penalty. Serves it across the line, and here comes Aston ahead and up into the lead of the race. That's a beautiful move from Aston. Who comes across the line? Oh, he's not going to come across the line. He's going to wait. Who's going to win the post-race race? Oh, it's Aston across the line with a few dirty tactics, but Aston wins season 1 of the post-race race. Aston, yeah, new race winner for Aston. Let's go back to more donuts because we want more donuts. There you go. Those 2, unfortunately for them, couldn't maintain their collection of Constructors' Champions, but Bon Evil and Tim fought their way to the front. Topster as well. You've got to include Topster for his 10 points from the Nürburgring. But there you have it. Actually, let's go through the season. Spoiler alert for those who don't want to watch, who haven't watched the races this season. We're going to go through a trip down memory lane whilst we have the donuts. I'm going to do this kind of like monologue style, so try not to cry. We started the season in the Nürburgring towards the end of September, where we started season 1 of GT Sport. The GT Sport Season 1 champion kicked things off with a win in the Nürburgring, followed by back-to-back wins in Catalonia with an amazing fight for second place, with second place finisher Piero. A week later in Lago Maggiore, Quaid actually made his GT7 debut and won the race by, I think, 30 or 40 seconds, and it was a pretty dull race. Everyone in different strategies, spaced out throughout the field, but it was still an entertaining race for individuals. A week later we headed over to America for the first time in the season. Trial Mountain making its debut, and a strong debut it made, producing amazing action for the lead of the race, where Tim battled his way through from the midfield and, well, won quite comfortably, it had to be said. Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium saw the first race that started off in the dry and finished in the rain with Finn with a masterclass strategy, probably the best strategy we've seen this season. Starting on the softs in wet weather conditions and finishing with 2 punctures after a showdown between him, Tim and Bon Evil. A week's break before Deep Forest Raceway making its GT7 debut in the main leagues, and don't remember much from that race apart from the fact that we had a drag race to the line between Toussaint and Play Duchy, a race that Tim led and won, but a great comeback from Duchy after he had real issues at the start. Dragon Trail Seaside was a race of survival with a true meaning of drive to survive, with many victims being caught out in that race, not only at Death Chicane, also the first sector. Tim looked set to win back-to-back races for only the second time this season. A driver could have done that, but 2 mistakes in the final lap. And what a beautiful shot here. It was beautiful before a massive crash over the line. 2 Premier Series champions. Got to put that one out there. But yeah, Dan Schneider winning from pole for the first time this season, the first time that had been done this season. I'm lost. I've lost it now because Toussaint distracted me with his comment and also going wheel to wheel with me over the line. I've lost it. And where were we? Dragon Trail. Dan Schneider winning from pole, the first time a driver had finished on the podium after starting that race in pole position. Tokyo Expressway was a race of survival in a different sense, with all, I think, 9-10 drivers on the same bit of road fighting for the lead of the race, and well, a race of tragic stories for quite a few in that race, with Natty, myself, going from 1st to 7th in one straight. That was the worst racing moment I think I've ever experienced. Unbelievable. That's probably the most positions lost legitimately in the race we've ever had without a crash or anything. But Toussaint was able to pick up the win by less than a tenth, I think it was. I think it was only like 500ths over Bon Evil and Tim. 3 wide across the line. The best finish to any race we've seen. Then we had Interlagos next week, or supposedly was next week. Turned out it was about 6 weeks in between Tokyo and Interlagos because of the lobby issues and the servers breaking down. But we got back up and running for Interlagos, and we had a new race winner, Bon Evil, taking the dub in that particular race after some great racing in the midfield. Watkins Glen, Natty, a new pole sitter. I don't need to refer to myself in the third person. We're not racing anymore. I got my first pole, which was a massive shock to, I think, the entire racing community. But unfortunately was slapped in the face and stabbed in the back with the pole curse, finishing off the podium. But Toussaint, maybe a crucial championship defining moment, letting Piero go through on the final corner of the last lap for Piero to win his first race of the season. Turns out costing a championship for the BCR team, but that doesn't matter, they've got plenty in the bank already. And then we are left with the final race in America, Daytona, where Aston won across the line, as you can see here. Unfortunately, this is the post-race race and post-race donuts. It doesn't actually account to anything. Who actually won this race? Oh yeah, it was Costa. Costa won his first race of the season, meaning we have 7 different race winners. And 7 in the last 7 races, can you believe it or not? But yeah, what an end to the season. If you're in the Discord, you can see the drivers and constructor standings, as well as the stats from this season. The number of poles, podiums, race wins and races entered for all 22 drivers this season. And I think it's time to finally do the outro for one more time in season 1. I've been XNAG. Stay tuned for events, fun events. I'll tell you what I've got planned actually, but I'm not going to say specifically what we've got planned. I've got a 1 mini season and 3 events, although the 3 events are very much linked, to find out who will become the GT7 World Champion. Wonder if that has any hints. We're not going to Monaco, But thank you everyone in the chats and everyone else who's been involved. I've been XAG, and it's time to finally end this stream because I have waffled on for quite some time. It's what I like doing, and it's what I'm going to continue to do. I think it's only fitting I do this, find myself to end you guys off season 1, and I've said that about 4 times already, but I just don't want this season to end. I want to keep going. I want this racing to continue for longer, for more. But we're going to be back in a couple of weeks' time for the first. Oh, what do I do first? The event or the mini season? I think we'll go with the event for the first event of 2023 to see who will become our GT World Champion. It's goodbye from the commentary box and goodbye on the grid until we see you guys next week. Not next week. Oh my God! What are those? No, we're not racing next week. It's so sad, I know, but we're not racing next week. It's goodbye until next time. See you guys.